I remember when I was campaigning, and I'll be very transparent, individuals were very mean to me. Some people were tearing up my flyers from the opposing team. And so I was really like, I wanted to quit. And then I would think, but quitters never win and winners never quit. The real people who see you for who you are, they want you to be their next Miss UAPB. And I said, wow. And it just gave me the extra fuel that I need to keep going.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to Let Me Hear You Roar M4 podcast, y'all. Today we got a special guest, Miss Tamara Glover, y'all.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And thanks for having me, Mr. Harris.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on for sure. I guess introduce yourself to the audience for us quite quick. Let them know who you are.
Well, hello, Golden Line Country. I am Dr. Tamara Pace Glover, a proud native of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and a 2009 graduate from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, the flagship of the Delta. And I'm super excited to be with each and every one of you all today as we discuss my journey through the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Yes, ma'am. So like you said, we're gonna discuss your journey. I guess let's go ahead and rewind the clock then. So, so you're born here in Pine Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
So what high school did you go to?
So actually, I graduated from Watson Chapel High School in 2004.
That's cool. Unfortunate.
Well, listen, you may lighten up on me because my husband graduated from Pine Bluff High, so I'm a proud Wildcat, but at the same time, I'm still like, go Zebras. What y'all say, Z-E-B-R-A-S, Zebras. It's okay, it's all love, But after I graduated high school, I remember always going to, homecoming games and the parades, and I would always see the Golden Girls. And so that's how I got started with M4, so M4 for life. And I remember Brittany Haywood was one of the dancers. Okay. And I said, Brittany, what do I need to do in order to be just like you so that I can be a part of the band? Because of course I couldn't play an instrument, but I knew they had dancers, and for me as a young girl, the Golden Girls were like superstars, like celebrities. And so I had the opportunity to audition in summer of 2004, and lo and behold, I made it, and I was super, super excited. And the interesting thing is that I would always ask Miss Ann Green, she was our Golden Girl advisor at the time, and I would always ask her, Miss Green, why did you all pick me? And she told me, she said, when you dance, baby, you remind me of Teresa Ramey. And I said, oh, well, I can't wait to meet this Teresa Ramey. And so, who's now Miss Mocha, actually.
It's crazy. She was my English teacher in junior high.
She is incredible. She is a phenomenal woman. And so when I met her, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like looking in the mirror. She's an incredible person, and our journeys are similar in terms of the activities and the extracurricular activities that we did on campus. So she was also a Golden Girl, of course, and then she went on to be Miss UAPB. Okay. And I was fortunate enough to be elected by the student body as well to be the 79th Miss University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Okay. Shameless plug. Now all of the queens are using the years, and that started with me. I am a history maker, so I'm excited about that.
So you started in 2004. So what was it like the first year, 2004? Well, you already from Pine Bluff, so it wasn't that much different for you. But started band camp, the 5 a.m.s. How was that?
I was in for a rude awakening. I had no idea, and I remember I stayed on campus during band camp. But I remember seeing Drumline, and I was like, oh, this is incredible. But I didn't think the experience would be similar. But it really is. It really was. And so I remember me and my roommate, we were just sleeping. We went to bed early because once you find out that you have band camp, of course, everybody in the city of Pine Bluff is at Walmart trying to get the black sweats and the white tees. For sure. And so, but at any rate, we were there. And we had a late night, and so we had just went to sleep. I know it has to be about 1:15 in the morning, a.m. Next thing you know, you hear drums and cymbals and all kinds of things that are taking place throughout the hallway. Literally started us and woke us up. And so I was like, are you serious? We have to get up. And they said, you have to be at the dots by 4:30. Right. So we get started at 5 a.m., but you have to be at the dots by 4:30. So it was incredible. I will be honest. Mr. Graham, Mr. Fooster, and the late, great Mr. Hood. And I have a special place for Mr. Evans. I did not like band camp. I didn't. But that's where I learned discipline that carried me on now. And, I'm 35 years old. And because of the disciplines and the trainings and the teachings that I received during band camp and during my tenure as a band member, I carry on now that have helped me to be successful. So I'm super excited. And while I didn't enjoy it, it prepared me for where I am today.
Okay, that sounds great. So how many years did you dance as a Golden Girl?
I actually danced for 3 years. Wow. 3 years.
You got any funny stories?
Oh wow! Roll the tape. So I don't know if you got. I'm sure you still do this. You video all of the performances.
Yeah.
So there was this one performance, and we were in St. Louis. I think it was the Gateway Classic. Or maybe, I think it was a Gateway Classic. I'm not really for sure. Oh gosh, Crystal is gonna get me for this. Crystal Bogey and I were dancing, and we had to be in certain spots. Well, during that time, I'm ashamed to say this, during the routine, we actually ran into each other. No one else knew except us. We bumped into each other and kind of did an extra spin or a pirouette, and it worked out fine. So if the audience was looking and they was like, oh, well, that was interesting, that was nice. But for us, it was like, oh, we missed the mark. But that's the great thing about dancing and having fun. When you love what you do, I have a passion for dancing, and I really love it. It's almost like you're so free when you're dancing. Right. And so during that time, even though there was an error on the field, we still enjoyed, and we never missed a beat. The routine was still flawless, and the people still gave us a standing ovation. And it's just, I don't know, it's incredible, because when I would always dance, I would always think about the millions of people and the little girls that would be watching, dreaming about having their opportunity to be on the field. And I think that that's priceless when you can set the tone and serve as role models for individuals, because M4 is an incredible part of the university, but it's the heartbeat, I would like to say, in terms of student engagement, student activities, and just being actively engaged with things on campus. Like, the entire Pine Bluff community and surrounding communities look forward to the band. It's all about the band. And so to be in a position to where I can serve as a role model, as a dancer, I think that was incredible. And it was actually life-changing.
Can you speak on how like, what the extremities, how life-changing was it for you?
Well, for me, I was reared by a single mom, and my mom, she worked 2 and 3 jobs just to make sure the food was on the table, we had a roof over our heads, that type of thing. And so we wasn't afforded the opportunity, we didn't have an opportunity to do a lot of traveling, or to take family trips, such as my husband and I do now with my son. But when I became a part of the M4 family, I remember being exposed to 5-star hotels, full course meals, like dining at the best restaurants, being exposed to other communities and diversity. And it was just an incredible experience. And that's why I tell individuals now, if you want to be successful, look at someone else who's already doing it and just follow their footsteps. And it's okay to have, it's great to have role models. And so that's what, those are the type of experiences that I encountered when I was a student here. And I think it's very important and critical for students to really maximize their opportunities while they're on campus. And so some of the things outside of the discipline, the determination, the drive, the exposure was big for me. Little old girl coming from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, being able to dance on the field, have this 60 seconds or 90 seconds of fame, and you in front of millions and millions of people and sometimes celebrities, that was life-changing. And there was more to it than just dancing. Mr. Graham used to always tell us, he said, you all are the first, dancers are the first people that the community will see. And while you're not carrying an instrument, your smile is your instrument. And so you should always be smiling at all times. And so those small things, they really matter, because people especially if they're having a bad day and you're a dancer, you're just a person with a smile and you have this bubbly personality, you brighten someone else's day. And I think that that's powerful.
Yes, ma'am. I can definitely attest to that. I had a lot of mentors myself coming up through high school, like Tim Scott, Mr. Lott. Even a lot of people just around, just even when we had, you know, people from UAPB just come around Pine Bluff High. You know, I probably didn't know them by name, but just seeing how they carried themselves. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of that. You know, that I had the opportunity to come audition for the band. Got a band in 2012. You know, finally be a part of that. The history, the family, the culture, and everything. You know, and then just it had an impact on my life. You know, I was always, you know, the quiet kid, you know, chilling, or I was quote unquote quiet. You know, I talk to people I talk to, but just having that fun and, you know, it's like traveling. Always like, you know, battle against other bands. You know, just him.
Now the battles, oh my goodness! I remember leaving Jackson State University, their stadium, and the J-Sets were waiting on us. Oh, but my captain, Crystal White was our captain, and Crystal did not play. So they wanted to challenge us, and of course we won. But it was incredible to see the intense competition amongst the dancers during after halftime and even during the fifth quarter. Like, that was always incredible. And I remember this one time dancing against the Mississippi Valley dancers, not knowing that after I battled against this one particular young lady, that she would eventually end up being my hairstylist when I moved or relocated to Jonesboro, Arkansas, to pursue my master's degree. Okay. And so you just never know where the networking connections will come in as well. And so that was always very powerful as well, which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I probably not the same magnitude, but you know, I definitely remember, like, being in high school, you know, we would always battle against, you know, certain schools, and then turn out later, come to UAPB, they're my CBs and CS and my sections. You know, it's I remember you know, we battled at Pine Bluff High, battled, you know, in Memphis, stuff like that. So it's crazy how the world just spins like that. You know, just, you know, you see random people just, you know, across the room. All of a sudden, you know, they mean so much to you later on down the line. That
is, and we really, when we say M4 for life or M4 family, marching, music, machine, the Mid-South, you know, that we take that to heart. Like, that really does mean something. So when I go out and I see individuals that came in with me as a freshman, and of course my CBs and my CSs, it's like we are connected, bonded for life. I can call them anytime and they'll have my back, and vice versa. And I think that's really incredible, because you don't, fictive kin sometimes can be even more powerful than the blood, you know, sometimes your own bloodline, you know. So I think it's incredible. I don't know, I just love everything about M4. Like, M4, like, I see students now as a professor, now that I'm back, and I'm like, oh, you in the band? You in the band? What instrument you play? What do you do? And I start doing this, and they looking at me like, Dr. Glover, what are you doing? And I'm like, M4 for life, because that's what we used to do when I was on campus. I don't know if they still do that.
This girl does every now and then.
Okay. Sure, so it's, I don't know, it's something about the band that's just incredible and life-changing for a lot of students, I think. So.
For sure, yeah. So you danced for 3 years, and then what happened after that?
So after I danced, and that's the beauty about the band. When you transition out of the band, it's like you never left, because you still have the support. And so I definitely had the support of the M4 family when I was on campus, which propelled me to move into more of leadership roles with the Student Government Association. And so for that next year, I served as the class queen. And after that, I, of course, had the support of the M4 family and became the 79th Miss University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is the highest title that a collegiate woman can possess. And so that within itself was life-changing, because not only are you representing the student body, but you're really like the official ambassador for the entire institution. And then the Pine Bluff community is something about the band, it's something about the SGA leadership, and it is something to be said about other individuals who hold titles in the on campus. You're seen as powerful individuals who can actually serve as change agents, not only on campus, but in the community. And I believe that's what's needed now. We have it, but we need more of it. And I'm seeing the students on campus now just take things, and they're taking it to another level. And so I'm super proud of all of the students now who have taken on leadership roles, and even those that are taking on leadership roles within the M4 family.
Was it always your aspiration to go out for that?
No. Never thought about it at all. But again, credit back to Mr. Graham. During one session, he said a couple of things that have always stuck with me. And they always disseminate powerful nuggets that if you pay attention to what they're saying, whether they're upset or not, because sometimes when we don't do what they ask us to do, they do get, they're passionate about what they do, and you can tell that. And so I remember him standing in front of us, and I don't know if we didn't perform the way that we needed to. I can't really remember, but he said we all have to take this serious because we'll never get these moments back. He said Golden Girls are in the forefront, but they go on to do great things, because his thing was for us is, I don't want you to just dance on the field on Saturday and not be able to show your face in church on Sunday. And I thought that meant something, because he cared about us, all of them. They cared about us as young women and young professional women. And so I'm saying all that to say, he told us, he said, Golden Girls go on, they do great things. They become Miss UAPBs, they serve as class queens, they go on and do excellent things, become professionals. And I'm thinking like, well, that sounds good. But I didn't see myself in that role. Going back to Miss Green saying that I remind her of Teresa Ramey, Mrs. Mocha. Our journeys were similar because she was a Golden Girl, and then she also became Miss UAPB. I didn't know how incredible that was until I served in the role. And you don't know how much of an impact you have on different people until you are in these roles. And I used to have little girls come up to me and ask for my autograph. And I'm like, my autograph? Are you serious? Literally, they would bring old calendars. See, when I was dancing, we used to have calendars. And so when we have different events, the young ladies would want the calendars to be autographed by the particular dancers. And then when I became Miss UAPB, they would always want photo ops. And so I was like, oh my goodness, this is I'm really making a difference. Sometimes your presence can make a difference. And so I just gained so much valuable insight during that time. But then the other thing that Mr. Graham would always say was, you never know. Your spouse may be next to you, or your spouse may be in the band. And while my husband did not partake in the band during the same years I was served in the band, my husband actually was a part of M4, and his name is Leonardo Glover. He actually played the saxophone like you. And so I have a special love. Yes, I have a special love for individuals that play the saxophone, especially Mr. Glover, because he still has it.
Definitely you talking about just that, those little nuggets that they put out there. I honestly, when I was in the band, I honestly would have saw myself in the position I am now. It's just kind of happened on a whim. I was majoring SRT. I wasn't even majoring in education. I wasn't really had the aspiration of being a teacher. But I just went out for it. I got my master's in sound design. And then things kind of happened where, I was still, had good relationships with directors. It's just that thing where I was always, a good person. I always treated everybody, good.
Yes.
And it's that thing I tell students nowadays, like, people are always watching you.
They're always watching.
He was always watching. You may never seem like it. You may never think it. You might just think you just that one individual person that nobody's. That one person that may be clearing that. No, everybody's watching. They're watching. They're watching you, and they see how you carry yourself. They see how you carry yourself. And people gonna realize that along the line when it's time for you. When it's time, you may not even know it. You may not even know you may need something from something down the line. Maybe that's just one recommendation letter.
I agree. Yeah. The other thing that the band did for me is gave me confidence, believing in myself and my ability, so that when I do walk into the room, I don't have to dim my light. I can let my light shine. And so that courage or that confidence that I received during my time of dancing, that's what encouraged me to pursue leadership roles on campus. And after I graduated, I went on to still compete. I've competed in pageants at the local level, state level, and even a national level. So I've had several titles: Mrs. Black Arkansas, and then Mrs. Arkansas United States. I competed at the Mrs. United States pageant. My last pageant was in 2018, and that also allowed me the opportunity to still serve the community and the state at the state level as well. And so I didn't mention this, but now that I'm back on campus, I'm actually the department chair for social work, serving we have 103 students in our actual program. I'm so proud now because we actually have 18 students that are getting ready to graduate, and so that propelled me to move forward. And to also, the other thing that I think is critical is that when you're in the band, you're taught to be the best. Not being the best so that you can step on other people or minimize other people, but we're taught to be the best at what we do. So, and I tell my students that same message, like, you're choosing the field of social work, which is a helping profession. You want to be the very best in the field. And my uncle, he'll crack jokes now. He said, there's nothing else for my niece to do. She has the PhD in social work. She's a licensed clinical social worker. Like, I have the highest license in my field. So there's nothing else I need to do to prove myself. But I'm always telling my students, invest in you so that you can be the very best, because you're the best and you deserve the best in every area of your life. And our greatest investment will always be to us, because we can invest in ourselves. We have so much more to share with the world.
That's powerful for sure. I guess a quick little rewind. So what do you remember? What was your your campaign
slogan? Of course, I remember. Umoja, which is unity, bringing everybody together. I learned that in the band as well. We're a family, and so we want everybody on campus to operate like a family. When you operate like a family, you tend to get more things done. I know sometimes we can have hiccups here and there, challenges and obstacles, but the great thing is that when we come together, when like-minded individuals come together and share the same vision, the same goals, we're able to make more of an impact in the community. And the other slogan that I ran on was be bold, be beautiful, meaning be yourself. You have no other reason to be anybody else. And the truth of the matter is that when you're operating outside of your lane, you become fraudulent and you're not your authentic self. And when you're your true self, then you can move in the lanes and travel down the road that God wants you to travel down. And so I'm a firm believer. I was also asked like my favorite scripture or quote, and I have two. My favorite scripture that I live by, and this really I've been living by this scripture for years, is Romans 8:28. All things work together for good of them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose. Well, I've been saying that for years and years and years, and I'm thinking like, Lord, no matter whether I'm trying to do something positive, I'm always faced with some type of adversity. But then I'm always reminded, and I take a look back and I'm like, let me check my track record, because God has been with me every step of the way. It's not because of me, but it's because of Him. And when I check my track record, I see that even when I was faced with a negative situation, that He turned it around for my good. But the end of that scripture, going on to the finished chapter 8, Romans 8, it says that to those He called, He also chose, and He justified. And so even when you're feeling inadequate or there's some type of doubt, you lean on His hand and you continuously trust in Him. And so my second quote that I used to live by all the time when I was a student, and I was recently reminded of this. I had to speak to the high school students at Watson Chapel High School on yesterday. They did a Pretty in Pink symposium, and I was invited as one of the keynote speakers. Long story short, before I left to speak to those young ladies, one of my colleagues, she brought in the social work club folder that had a lot of our memories in there. And our senior banquet, we had to list a quote. And as I was looking for my name, I saw the quote that I put in the program, and it was, "Where do you find the power? For it's not from the outside, but within. For you are the thinker that thinks the thoughts that think the things. If you don't like them, then you should change them." And I was like, wow, even in my 20s, I was saying these types of things. Oh my goodness, So, but we have the power to really control our situations. I feel like God has given us everything that we need. And I don't know if they still do this now. And I said that because when we used to meet at the Dots at 5 a.m. in the morning, after working out or after the drum majors, which I really did not like during that time. I love y'all. I'm just playing. We had some incredible drum majors, but they worked us because they were serious. Everybody was serious. It was always a serious matter. But long story short, we would run from the dots to the stadium. And this is what really remained heavy on me all the time, is when we made it to the top, even when we wanted to quit, we would say, the view at the top is great. You know it? Don't be late for your date with destiny. The view at the top is great. That right there is powerful, because even when you want to give up, you keep going. And once you achieve your goal, then you feel like you have conquered almost like the world, right?
That's crazy. I usually I like to ask my guests for like some advice they have for me, but you can't be clean up right there and stuff. But I guess so it just happens to be campaign season around here. So what would be some advice you have for these ladies that are trying to be Miss UAPB nowadays?
Yes, first of all, let me say the students nowadays are so creative. I've seen some of their work. Oh my goodness. I've seen two, and I'm very, very proud. The one thing I'll say is that if it's in you, if you want it, go after it. I remember when I was campaigning, and I'll be very transparent, I was non-Greek at the time, and individuals were very mean to me. Some. Of course, I had my M4 family, I had the military individuals, I had the soccer team, tennis, and life-changing. I never forget, I had just had, like, people were tearing up my flyers from the opposing team. They were tearing up my flyers, and they were saying mean things about me, and saying that my grades were not the best, and just mean girl stuff, right? And so I was really like, I wanted to quit. And then I would think, but quitters never win, and winners never quit. And me and my campaign manager, we went to the cab, and this was one of those days they were serving that good fish. You know, fried fish is so good at the cab, right? So this was a Friday. And as we were sitting there, and I was getting ready to literally like cry, and I was like, don't cry, do not cry in front of all of these people. I get a tap on my shoulder, and I'm sorry, and the basketball team, everybody literally tapped me on my shoulder and was shaking my hand and said, Tamara, we support you. You have our vote. They did it one by one. It had to be at least 15 of them. And it just took me by surprise, and I was like, oh my God. And so I couldn't believe it. I was like, Marvin, did this really just happen? He was like, yes. They call me Tam. He said, yes, Tam, that happened. I'm telling you, he said, the real people who see you for who you are, they want you to be their next Miss UAPB. And I said, wow. And it just gave me the extra fuel that I need to keep going. And of course, voting was the next day, and it ended up being a runoff. So it was between me and this other young lady. And so, of course, we had to get everything back together and start all back over, because what you did the first couple of weeks, it didn't even matter. Right. But I had something up my sleeve, and I was so thankful for it. And so that following day, we revealed the billboard. I had a billboard on university. Now we see a lot of students having different billboards about the science and the university. And so, at any rate, the runoff came, and I never forget, Nay was another one of my campaign managers, because you can only send one person to count the votes. And she called me and she said, Tam, you won. You had 300 some votes, and she had 679. I said, well, Nay, I didn't win. No, Tam, I'm sorry. I'm just so excited. You had 679 votes, and she had 300 and something. And I was like, oh my goodness, I beat her by a landslide. Because the runoff, it was only 2 votes. It was only a 2-vote separation, and she actually had the votes. But you have to win before the runoff. You have to win by at least 51%, because we were so close the first time they had to do a runoff. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I won. I couldn't believe it. And I think for the first month, it was still unreal to me. I couldn't believe that the student body had actually chosen me, because it's hard to get individuals to go and vote because everybody's doing their own thing. Right. So fast forward now, I'm proud of these individuals that are taking on leadership roles or who want to serve and bring back or keep the pride moving forward and serve as the heartbeat for the university. I think that that's powerful. Stick with it, whatever it is. Don't let nobody tell you that you cannot do it, because if you can believe it, you can truly achieve it. And I know we hear a lot of these different quotes and stuff, and sometimes we think that it's very cliche, but the biggest thing is for you to believe in yourself. And keep this in mind for all of the young ladies that's running for class queen position and the young ladies that are running for Miss UAPB. I'm thankful that you had enough courage to actually run, because there is some young lady that's watching you right now that would love to be Miss UAPB but does not have the courage to actually run, and so you're setting the tone for them. And so the next person that's going to join the reins and be a part of the royal family, know that we have your back and we will be supporting you and we're rooting for you. But just because you don't win, for the other young ladies that are running, know that you're still great, and that just means that God has something that's better for you. And so when people tell you no, it doesn't mean no, it means the next opportunity. Look for the next opportunity, because time and chance happen to us all, and you just need to wait on your next opportunity.
Dropping like that. I think that's about it.
That's about it.
You got anything else? You want to drop some more gems for us? But if that's it, got this last little bit of last little thing though. So we just do the "Let Me Hear You Roar" chant.
Yeah.
We gotta do. So.
Let me hear you roar.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to love that before we got on the field. We were crunk. We were excited. Do they still do like the drum line when it's time to march back to the band, and then they allow everybody to march through? Oh, wow! I used to be so excited. It's something about the band, something about those drums. It's something about the music that gets you going.
Yes, ma'am. So you want to give us a little "Let Me Hear You Roar" chant for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's floor is yours. You can have it.
The floor is mine. Golden Line Country. Let me hear you roar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, you guys. Thank you, Miss Glover, for coming on. That was a great episode. You guys tap in with us. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you for watching. For additional behind the scenes and bonus content, follow us on Instagram at Import Pop. If you want to keep up with Import on upcoming news and performances, please follow us on all main social medias.